Uh, Nilesh Shah joins us. He's the Managing Director of Kotak Mahindra Asset Management, President of the Mutual Funds Association of India. Nilesh bhai, welcome. 10% GDP package, 20 trillion rupees being announced. What's your sense of how the markets are likely to react on this tomorrow morning?
Initially, definitely there will be a lot of optimism because of the size of the budget. But as I heard Rajdeep saying that it is actual execution on the ground in terms of design of expenditure. Is it more capex? Is it more revenue? How are we going to finance it? And most importantly, how it gets executed on the ground. That will determine the long-term impact on the market.
But you know, the sense, Nilesh, is that there has been a general lack of confidence for months now, and some of it predates even Corona, COVID. The market was already in decline. The decline only accentuated post-Corona. Do you believe that this is, in that sense, possibly a turning point to revive that much-needed confidence? Or will industry only really revive, or will the markets only revive if they actually see the details?
Market will definitely believe the government right now, because that's the trend globally, where governments are providing fiscal stimulus as well as central banks are providing monetary stimulus. But after that initial optimism, people will need the proof of detailing, and I think this is a great opportunity for India. Two of the oldest civilizations, one gave Wuhan virus to the world, other is giving hydroxychloroquine tablet. It is time for us to encash that goodwill. We can get that in form of foreign portfolio investments. We can get that in form of foreign direct investment. So all these steps which we have announced on land, labor and capital reforms, if it materializes, it can really change India's growth orbit. But important thing is execution on ground.
The important thing is if. Those two big words, Nilesh.
Nilesh bhai, apart from everything you do at Kotak, you're also now in the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council. I'd like to know from you, because the government's key thrust, the Prime Minister's key thrust was land reform, labor reform and structural reform. He pushed that. At a time of such distress, when in any case you have excess capacity, morale is down, investment appetite is low, there is a growing debt phobia, will such substantial reform, if they are announced over the next few days, will they lead to a change in investment outlook?
Rahul bhai, let's go back to 1991. Morale was far worse then. Economic situation was far worse. Oil prices were far higher than today. FX reserves were substantially lower than today. And the reform package announced in 1991 really changed India's growth orbit for the rest of the decade. It is the similar opportunity with much stronger positioning. So we have to take our chance. Yes, there will be some sets of industry which may not be able to participate, but we can compensate that by bringing foreign direct investment from offshore. Just to give you a very simple basic analysis on the trade side, we have $60 billion trade deficit with China. Many things we have to import, but many things we can replace by made in India goods. We have $35 billion import of gold last year. This year, obviously, it has come down, but we can bring it further down. We have the third or fourth largest reserve of coal in the world, yet we have $21 billion trade deficit on coal import. We can look to reduce that. Electronic imports at one point of time were threatening to cross oil import bill. Now it has been reversed. We can continue to improve upon that. We can aim to save about $100 billion by disrupting supply chain out of China, especially focused on electronics.
But sir, China's recovery is much faster. Look at it in a global context. America is struggling. The curve is still going up. In India, the curve hasn't plateaued, definitely not coming down at this moment. China is recovering. So you speak to international manufacturers, they'll say, actually, it wasn't such a bad idea investing in China, because we've been able to get our industries up and running much faster than in Europe or in the United States. And India, we're still just about starting to ventilate the economy.
There will be challenges, there will be competition from other countries, but we have to take our chances. Today, the world will be looking to diversify out of China. We have seen announcements by various companies. And we have been successful in bringing Samsung's entire mobile phone manufacturing from China to India. Today, Samsung does not operate any single mobile phone manufacturing plant in China. So what we have done, whereby Samsung set up world's largest mobile hemp manufacturing plant in Noida. We have to replicate across industries. It's not an easy task. There will be stiff competition from China as well as other countries, but we have to take our chances.
Will the idea of Make in India, enhancing domestic manufacturing, clash with the idea of wanting to push our exports? Because that's a mixed, and especially given how complex global value chains are, all of it is not produced in any one country. Parts are produced elsewhere, so it requires very quick movement. There's a possibility, and there's already been a lot of commentary in the business papers that excise duties could be enhanced to ensure that it becomes sustainable and feasible and attractive to manufacture in India. Then what happens to being one part of a global supply chain?
So I don't want to underestimate all the challenges, but let me just give the positive or optimistic picture. When we brought Suzuki into India, motor cars, automobile sector, despite being the first auto manufacturer in Asia, was not contributing much to the economy. We all waited for 7 to 10 years to buy a car. The excise duties were 200 or 300%. Today, automobile sector, courtesy someone like Suzuki Maruti, is contributing more than 40% of India's manufacturing GDP. It's one of the few manufacturing items where we have export surplus. We make $14 billion trade surplus in auto and auto components. Today we are exporting cars to Japan. So one Suzuki made a difference in automobile. We have to create such kind of Suzukis which not only expands our domestic market, they also help us create auto component makers like Motherson Sumi. They also create jobs and employment like auto mechanics all over the country, and it allows us to export. So what we did with Suzuki, which today has market outperformance better than Hondas, better than Toyotas of the world, we have to replicate that across various industries.
Mr. Shah, in a sense, you're offering the green shoots of a possible economic revival. You've even spoken of 1991. You're not the first one today who's spoken about the possibility that this is India's 1991 moment. But remember, that required political strategy that matched, in a sense, a vision for the future. Has Mr. Modi, in a sense, used this crisis
but if
to
there's
create
anyone
new
who can do it,
opportunities?
Modi can. Turn this crisis into an opportunity and push through reform. We haven't
because
seen
he has
that.
the political equity. He certainly has the political equity. The opposition is frankly not in a position to undermine his government over the next few years. He has 4 years.
Now look at labour reform. That's crucial. What UP, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat have already done. Ordinarily, that's a political hot potato. Nobody would dare touch that.
We don't know what will happen post-COVID, but there is a huge opportunity in what Mr. Modi has done. But remember, all of this requires us to fight a war at two fronts. We are fighting a war against COVID, and I think while we focus so much on the economy, very interestingly, today there's been very little focus on the health challenge, which I think still remains in place. So until you really open up, and the faster
that's chicken and egg.
No, the question, Rahul, is once you open up, that's when the economic challenges will either lead to new opportunities, or if it delays for another 6 months, industry's confidence will be so low.
Look at the list of Fortune 500 companies. The biggest companies, most successful companies were created at the time of previous economic crisis.
Sure, there is absolutely no doubt that all of India's major reforms have taken place during periods of crisis. Therefore, you do economic changes at a time when there is a widespread consensus. At the moment, people want anything to get the economy going.
But we may be able to push through land reform, which last time the government had to pull back on because of the political uproar. So there is, if you look at it, the glass could be half full or half empty. There are lots of questions. But what Rajdeep and I have tried to do over the last 5 hours, no dinner so far for either of us, is try and help you make